So the cover-up is not going very well for the Trump administration. Like, it's kind of interesting because there's already people coming out like, I know stuff. I can't tell you stuff. I know stuff. I kind of know stuff, but I can't tell you stuff. Like, bro, how does a piece of paper that you sign say, hey, you're not allowed to tell on people that did heinous crimes? Anyways, let's go, Tom Bilyeu. I hope I said his last name right. Anyways, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed, says Epstein's lawyer. Right? Let's check it out.
Alan Dershowitz is saying the Epstein files are indeed being suppressed, that we've got some major action, major players that are being protected, politicians, famous people, you name it, they're in there. Just giving you the facts. You can draw whatever conclusion you want. But our episode on Epstein got age restricted. His reputation is largely built on taking controversial and often unpopular cases.
So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people, and that's wrong.
We've been talking about this. It's been bouncing around the podcast circus now at this point.
Everybody is going to reveal themselves in how they respond to social media, being able to talk about everything, cameras being everywhere. And some people are going to want to clamp down. They're going to want you to only see things that are approved. This much information has a deranging effect. It just isn't only deranging. To me, this is like being able to farm and create industrial grade farming where you can just have calories all the time, anytime, whenever you want. If you give that to people that have no control, they're going to become, 600 pounds. They're going to eat terrible food. They're going to be dying of malnutrition despite being morbidly obese. Yeah, I get it. But that doesn't mean that I would rather force everybody back to where you have to hunt and fish and risk starvation when winter comes. Like, it's absurd. The logic that people use around, hey, some people are going to say dumb things and some people are going to believe dumb things, and therefore we have to control the shit. It is the weirdest logical progression ever. You know that at some point you're saying, I don't want the trust to be voluntary. I want the trust to be forced. Like, what is happening? How do people look at history and go, it works out so well, Drew? Yeah. It's not a problem.
Right. It hasn't. There's a lot of deaths, bro. It's been a lot of death, bro. When you think about it, the world, when you think about the history of the world, there's been a lot of death in the world. Anyways, let's do after the video.
Problem? It's crazy.
What do you say, though, to the people that say there's Swiss, bliss, I don't know, all the misinformation.
I like that.
Like if I say a lie loud enough, and we even experimented on the show jokingly, we all have examples of that.
Some people still think you're 53. I love that so much. He is 53, by the way.
If you say it loud enough, it will be effective. And at the political level, there should be a level of responsibility there. So it's free speech when you're talking about, technology. It's free speech when you're talking about video games, movies, things like that. But politics should be restricted. I mean, like, is that a middle ground?
Nope.
You just think full stop, no restriction, like you cannot do it.
Correct. Here's the thing, Drew. Oh, God. I love and care about you truly as a human being, but I think you're out of your mind to believe in God. Imagine that I got to tell you, you can't talk about that. It's not true. How you'd be willing to fight and kill, almost certainly, if people told you, no, that's not real, and you can't talk about it. And I would be able to show you the proof of all the scientific things that show it's not real. And yet you would say, this is the most absurd thing ever. You are wrong. I don't care what your science says. And what I'm saying is correct. You should be able to say and believe the things that you say and believe. And if I'm completely honest, you should be able to lie, because I don't want people to try to be the...
Okay, based on his logic, then right there, what he just said, then I say everybody was born into a false mental reality. It's called duality, and no one knows what they're actually saying because language manipulation has been going on for longer than anyone on earth has currently been alive.
Adjudicators of truth. Yeah. So it's like, listen, this is the reality of the human condition. We are in this position. People must think for themselves. They have to be able to live in a world where there's all kinds of terrible food and eat the right ones and figure out which is which. We have to live in a world where people are going to be hearing mal information coming at them from all angles, and they've got to figure out how to navigate this. And there are going to be some people that do not have the intellectual capacity to make it, and we have to accept that those people's lives will be worse, that God has found it absolutely okay to give people an IQ that just makes the world impossible to navigate. It is what it is. Like, it is maniacal when people go, well, but I see everything so clearly. I'm going to say.
I also entertain and retain the statement that I know nothing. And it's the only thing I know for sure. Excuse me. Oh man, dude, that dab. Whoa.
Hey, that like these institutions shouldn't be optionally listened to. They shouldn't have to compete for people's respect and trust. You should just trust.
Yeah.
These are them. Politicians, if that's people's bag, or the New York Times, if that's people's bag, or the National Institute of Health, hard pass. This is where people have to take ownership of their lives and say, yes, there's going to be a whole bunch of information that I totally disagree with, and I'm going to have to find a way to parse this. I'm going to have to think from first principles. I'm going to have to map cause and effect, and I'm going to have to.
See, the thing that he doesn't comprehend right there with what he just said is most people don't even know what first principles are. So here, let me show you.
Try to get to what.
Because it'll be quicker, right? So I just come over here. And I go boom, 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 and I go research, and I go, can you do a synopsis of first principles? What are first principles? First principles are the most fundamental truth premises that cannot be derived from anything more basic. They're self-evident axioms in math, irreducible proportions in philosophy, of foundational laws in physics and engineering. Ha! See, I've been adding. Whoa, bro! I just blew my fucking mind, bro. I've been adding first principles, bro. That's why I follow these rules. I have so many rules that I follow, bro. I've been adding to this list. Philosophical roots. Aristotle defined first principles as the first basis from which a thing is known. He argued that logic and knowledge must build on these self-evident truths like non-contradiction or existence. See this part right here? Non-contradiction. Just a side note, the Bible has over 340 contradictions in it. Desecrates, pioneered rebuilding knowledge through self-evident truths. His famous cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am, acts as his foundational first principle. First principles thinking. Clarify a problem by stripping away assumptions, then reconstruct solutions from foundational truths rather than analogy or convention. How it works, step by step. Deconstruct the problem to eliminate to its elemental parts, those truths that can't be simplified further. Challenge assumptions. What have you taken for granted? Why? What if those assumptions are false? Reconstruction solutions from basic truths, exploring combinations unconstrained by existing norms. Look, I did all these, bro. Look, 14 years ago, I started adding first principles. And the first principle I added was the only thing that I know is nothing. Whoa, bro. Why it matters. Avoids the limits of analogy. We've always done it this way. Stimulates innovation, enabling breakthroughs rather than incremental change. Supports rigorous reasoning, as in philosophy or science, grounded in testable, falsifiable basics. I don't know why I just totally had a fucking with that word, bro. Falsifiable basics. Right. See, I've done this for 14 years, people. So when I tell you you're stuck in a false mental reality called duality, I'm not joking. I've confirmed this so many times through both of these, science and philosophy, rigorously. I can give you examples of experiments that I've done countless times. Examples in action: physics, engineering, computing, from first principles, initio. I don't know. That's Latin, I think, so I don't speak it. So means starting from established laws, ergo Schrodinger's equation, not fitted models. Elon Musk, SpaceX. What the fuck? Musk challenged assumptions about rocket costs by asking, what are rockets made of? How much do these raw materials cost? He discovered materials costs were just 2% of the price, then built rockets from scratch, cutting costs 10x. Damn. That is pretty crazy, actually. Everyday examples. Chefs and creators who forget the recipe and rebuild from ingredients or core principles. Coaches designing plays based on game rules rather than copied plays. Like, the list goes on, bro. Key techniques and mindset. Socrates questioning the 5 whys. Ask why deeply, recursively until reaching irreducible truths. Disconnect from conventional wisdom. Constantly ask, am I reasoning from first principles or just analogies? Right? Falsifiable fundamentals. Ensure each principle identified is verifiable and cannot be broken down further. Challenges cognitive effort. It's mentally demanding to strip away assumptions and rebuild. Requires balance. Experts can rely too much on first principles, while novices may need analogies. Best is a dynamic interplay. Bottom line, first principle reasoning teaches you to deconstruct problems to foundational truths, challenge assumptions, reconstruct solutions from the ground up. It's time-tested mental model, philosophical, scientific, and practical for clear thinking, rational, and radical innovation. Like, do you see what I mean? I've been doing first principles. That's crazy, actually. I never even knew that. I didn't know that about. I knew kind of what first principles were, but I didn't know it to that detail, right?
That's true. I have to get out of my own way. I have to stop believing everything that I feel. I have to stop believing everything that I believed yesterday.
Shit.
Because it no longer maps to reality. It just is what it is. And listen, I'm all for that 1776 energy. I need people to understand you cannot expect to go through life with all of the sharp edges padded. You have to say, life is going to be hard. There's a huge chance of failure. And instead of making sure that I can't...
Huge chance of failure. Lots of failure. Lots of sharp edges. Lots of, you need to shuck and jive through life. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta do it with a smile, bro. For the most part. Like, don't get me wrong. There's times to be upset. There's times to be sad. Totally comprehensible. But for the most part, while you're doing your thing, you want to just skate through this bitch with a smile. And not get touched by any of the fucking sharp edges. Like, dealing with cops, or the law, or government, or any of those fucking moron NPCs that don't comprehend reality.
Ever get hurt. I want uncapped upside. And so the great irony is, in real life, I want to live in a more moderate space, but there's no energy for that. And so I find myself feeling like I've got to like push harder and harder to get people to hear me, because right now all I hear is people clamoring for nobody left behind, nobody can get hurt, we've got to control the information, like it. And I'm talking from well-meaning, really smart people. It is.
I don't know about this though, like controlling the information. There's 8 billion people. Anyone can talk to anyone at any point, anywhere with a simple connection with internet. Information travels currently so fast that even if you attempted to stay up with everything that was happening in the world in one day, it wouldn't even be possible for you. Like I'm saying, if you woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning and just tried to watch about everything that happened in the world that day, you would not even make it through a tenth of that percentage, and you'd already be in the next day. You see what I'm saying? With a whole new rack of shit that's going to happen that day too. You see what I'm saying? There's so much information happening. So like best is try to focus on the most important information to where you are and what you need to do and where you're going.
is a value system that has already bankrupted this country. We are living on fumes. I would like to remind everybody that fiat currency is born only of confidence. And now we're going to lose confidence. And that is going to be a bloodbath. And the only way to pull back from that,
buy Bitcoin,
is you have to go, listen, we want to create the soil. That's what a nation is, in my opinion. We want to create the soil in which people can thrive as much as their drive, intelligence, discipline will allow them to. And some people are going to live a terrible life.
That reminds me of a Nick.
like, dude, had all of existence, some of us have lived a terrible life. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel weird reacting to some videos because it's like they're talking about such like heavy subjects and don't get that, like, all the heaviness that they're putting in doesn't really matter because they don't make no sense. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, every generation has had a portion that didn't live great lives. Every generation of all of us of ever has had a portion that died heinously or died for not good reasons or died before they even had a chance to experience life or a whole bunch of other fucking shit. Do you see what I'm saying? That they could have came across. Like, you know what I'm saying? Got sucked up in the tornado, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's been happening for a long time. So why are they talking like what's about to potentially happen? It hasn't happened. We're in a cycle, bro. You're stuck in a loop, bro. You're running in a circle, bro. You're a hamster on a treadmill, bro. Like, you see what I'm saying? The reason why it's happening again is because it's always going to happen until we break the cycle, and that's leaving the hamster wheel. And that hamster wheel is duality. You're made of neutral, positive, and negative. That's 3 things, bro. If you think you're only made of 2 things, that's delusional. That's like fucking 1984, and I'm sitting here going like, here, how many fingers am I holding? And every time you say 4, I shock you with a fucking electroshock around your fucking neck. And then I ask you again, how many fingers am I holding? You go 4, and I shock you again. And guess what? I just keep doing that until you eventually say 5. You know why? Because in that movie 1984 and the book, the reason why they were holding up their hand like this and saying, how many fingers do you see? And every time you got it wrong by saying 4, and that wasn't the wrong answer, that's actually the right answer. They want you to say the wrong answer, which is 5. Because they weren't asking how many fingers were you seeing. They were asking how many fingers were they holding up. And you couldn't see that I was holding up my thumb. It's up. Do you see what I'm saying? Up. It's not down like this. It's up, right? It's brainwashing, bro. Do you see what I'm saying? Everyone's stuck in it. Even including these guys. I can prove all of this already. 100-fold. 100-fold over and over again. I can prove all this. Through language manipulation, I've already proven it.
Saban speech that I definitely want to pull up.
You get up every day?
Commercial.
You're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing.
I love this already.
You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So nothing is acceptable but your best. So we need to be, everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance. So that, and that's the only thing. There should be nothing else, right, but that.
And I like.
All right, wait a second, bro. Says this is the coach of Alabama college football team, and he's sitting here talking about nothing. Comprehend, he does not compute that word and what it actually stands for. I'm not even going to go into that word right now. That's not the subject or the point I'm stopping the video for. For this reason, I'm stopping the video because he's talking about all that stuff, right? While he has a bottle of Coca-Cola sitting right there, which is like Coca-Cola is Like that shit can clean rust off your bumper, homie. Do you see what I'm saying? So he's training athletes to be their best while promoting something that reduces your ability to be at your best because it's like a carcinogenic at this point, bro. Coca-Cola is horrific for your body and the inside of your body. So do you see what I'm saying? How do people listen to people that are saying things that sound good, yet while promoting something that is completely horrific for your body, and they train athletes? Do you see all the interconnected, dysfunctional, like, contradictions in this situation? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, how do people, I don't know. Like, I know that we were born into a whole bunch of crazy brainwashing indoctrinations, and that's why people listen to these people that talk like him.
Like how we just started it off, like you're entitled to nothing. You wake up every day, nobody owes you anything. And the internalization of that, I think, is important. So
Like, comprehend, you are everything and you are nothing. Every moment you awaken, you are everything and you are nothing. At any moment, you can be everything or you can be nothing. At the same time, you can be everything and nothing. You're a 3-part makeup. This is why this is all possible. You're not a dualistic thing. It's not one or the other for anything in the entire universe. It's not one or the other for anything. You see what I'm saying? The universe does not operate off of dualistic parameters. We have encaged our brains inside a dualistic fucking mindset that is insanity at this point. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where it started. I don't know when it started. I don't know how it started. I don't know who started it. All I know is it's been going and going and going and going and going. And somehow I was born here like a while ago. And then I went through a whole bunch of traumatic shit. And I had to start asking motherfucking questions. And it led me to finding out that duality ain't fucking real.
although I understand the motivations behind a lot of these things about, okay, hey guys, election cycles can swing. There's grave consequences to elections. We have to be careful who we vote for. But that also means do your research. That also means don't get all your information from X. That also means talk to people, get out. So instead of saying, let's put more policing on the actual policies, it should be the other side, the individual stepping up and saying, okay, maybe I do need to understand more information. I need to gather more things, just diversify.
I agree with what he just said right there. Everyone needs to be able to comprehend information, and like everyone, like logistically, I think, dude, every human being should learn psychology by the age of 5. Like they should have like by the age of 5 or 6 years old, right? Everyone should have a basic concept of psychology and how our energies interact with each other, and how not to interact with another's energy in a way that is going to provide some form of harmful intent to that other one, whether it be mental or physical or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you are me. I don't want to harm you. I don't want you to harm me. The only way I will harm you is if you try to take my life. You see what I'm saying? Like, and the only reason I'm doing that is out of self-preservation, because it's a mechanism in my body that I can't stop. Do you see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even want to kill you, bro. Like, if I had to. Like, you see what I'm saying? If I had to defend myself, defend my life for your life, I'm going to fucking do that. I'm not going to like it, though, because you are me, and that's going to really suck to have to, like, on a form of knowing that I'm killing myself on some level, because that self that I'm killing is fucking so insane that self wants to kill another self that it doesn't even compute as itself. It computes it as divided, dualistically separated, and something else, not the same thing. Do you see what I mean? Other than that, I'm pretty nonviolent, and I just want to talk shit out, because that's the best way to deal with anything, is having a conversation.
Fire sources, whatever it may be. There was a question in the chat that was like, is there any limit? Do you fall on the side like, okay, at least you shouldn't incite violence at the very minimum?
Yeah. I'm all for the regulations that we have in effect right now. No direct calls for violence. I should probably go and break.
See, this is another thing I don't compute about, like, people that live in the United States now. Like, I grew up here, right? I get it, bro. Like, like, I still don't get it, like, in a sense, right? Like, he's like, yeah, I'm all for no calls to violence. It's like, the only reason this country existed is because the people that came here got tired of the people that sent them there controlling them. So what do? They caused violence to become their own country, right? So we caused violence to become our own country, yet now everyone's like, no one's allowed, only the government's allowed to cause violence with the military, and they're allowed to go and like blow up anybody's shit anywhere in the world, whenever the fuck they want to do for whatever the fuck reason. But the people of the United States, oh no, don't incite any violence, anyone, because you're not allowed to. You're a slave. You're not allowed to cause violence. Only the government that controls you is allowed to cause violence when they think violence is allowed to be caused. Make it make sense, people. I'm serious. Like, seriously, bro. Like, I'm really thinking that, like, these are things that need to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that not compute? Like, I feel like I'm speaking English like everybody else, yet based on what I've figured out about language manipulation, when I speak certain information, how everyone is receiving it is basically like, you gotta comprehend, most people don't comprehend what I'm talking about with language manipulation, and so therefore you don't compute. You got that what I'm saying is being filtered through your brain. I didn't control your brain. I didn't make your brain. I didn't create it. I wasn't in your environment. You know what I'm saying? Your environment, everything you've went through created your brain, and everything you've chosen to consume has created your outlook on this whole experience that everyone's having, right? And so therefore, when I speak, it doesn't matter necessarily how I describe the situation. It might not filter, it'll get filtered through possibly. Do you see what I'm saying? Your own brain might filter through my words and therefore miss the whole point I was making. And I can't stop that. I can't, like, you know what I mean? There's like a blockage. You see what I'm saying? Because everyone is divided, so we're not on the same page. No one's on the same page. I could be like, hey, bro, everybody flip to 297. We all, right now for this moment, bro, we all need to turn to 297. And everybody's going to be like, nah, I want to be on 487. Fuck you. Like, do you see what I'm saying? That's how most people are in the world now, because they don't want to be on the same page because the world's driven off of division. And it has to keep escalating the division. That's why we get World War I and then World War II. And then look, it's ramping up. We're already possibly technically in World War III right now as I fucking speak. But yet everyone's just sitting here like, and no one wants to pay attention to shit. And you have to comprehend, I'm about to play video games later. I still pay attention to stuff. It doesn't mean you have to stop existing and having fun. It's just like, it's stupid to be ignorant of all the atrocities that's happening currently.
Out like what the actual things are that the Supreme Court has ruled on. But for the most part, it's a Wild West. Say whatever you think is true. And the problem is we are so bad at identifying what is true that once you give somebody the power to start censoring, blocking, punishing you for, you slide into
the reason why everyone is bad at seeing what's true is because you've been brainwashed to not even know how to do that. Or even know that that's a thing that you need to know how to do, right? Look at those 2 points. If you don't have both of those points, right? If you don't have the ability to do either one of those things, then your ability to rationalize truth and know what is real from what is made up is not, like, you have no ability. Like, you need both those things to even have the chance. I'm not even saying that there's more things than these two things. I'm just saying these two things are absolutely needed just for the chance to have the ability to comprehend truth. You see what I'm saying? I think everyone really needs to comprehend that English language, or any language really, right? It's a tool that we use and it is designed to communicate. Yet most people don't get it. It's also designed to manifest reality. Because you're a co-creator. And so therefore, because you don't know what you're actually saying, because you don't think about language in the correct manner of how it's actually producing things when you speak, you have no ability to do the things necessary to set yourself up. Like, so most of the world, right? Like what? Here, I'll do some weird, crazy, like, biology statistic, right? Like 60% of the United States is obese, right? That's fucking crazy, right? Why is everybody obese? It's not because they want to be. Trust me, I'm telling you, bro. No one wants to be that. They don't actually want, like think of it like, I know they, like, there's people out there and they're like, I'm fat and I'm proud and look at my body and okay, I'm okay with it. Like, trust me when I tell you, bro, internally, dude, they are not okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Because our brains, our experiences aren't designed to be that extreme. We're based on having an ability to be balanced, right? Neutral. Everyone has the ability to go to neutral and be like, I'm not going to go either direction. I'm going to just stop right here and go, whoa. I'm not going to go left or right. I'm just going to look at this shit for a second and do nothing. Do you see how that's why I say the only thing I know is nothing, because that's the best place to go to. When anything gets too intense, you go, whoa, I know nothing. And then you can look from a non-biased perspective then, because you're not in the choices. Do you see what I'm saying? You're not in the language that you're speaking. Most people are attached to language, and therefore, if I go, you're brainwashed, look, I've done it many times, and I'll be like talking about like you're brainwashed in the sense that we've all been brainwashed due to some level and some degree on many subjects. Do you see what I mean? Yet most people, if you call them and tell them that they are brainwashed, the first thing they're going to do is get offended for being called brainwashed. That offense is the brainwashing. Do you see what I mean? The offense that they had to that word is the brainwashing, telling them, oh, you're not supposed to like that, so you can't figure it out. If your reaction is, wow, maybe I am brainwashed in this way, or if you ask questions or are curious, the likelihood of you figuring it out becomes exponentially higher than the one that got offended. Do you see what I'm saying? Just from you choosing to ask a question about that being said to you, right? And that's for anyone. If that's said to you, you have two choices. You can get offended because you think you are language and you are the words being said to you, or you can go, maybe in this subject we're talking about, he's correct that I'm brainwashed because maybe I don't know the full extent of this subject that we're speaking about. But do you see how that requires you to further step outside of your ego to take a look at a larger picture? I go all fucking day, all night, all day, all night. I can talk for fucking ever.
Totalitarianism so fast. And I will forever point people back to Semmelweis, the Hungarian doctor, who I think just epitomizes why you can't do that. And that was just colleagues. That wasn't even the state. And Semmelweis, to speedrun his story, he was a Hungarian doctor that worked in a hospital that was divided into two, so in the same building, same space, and one side of this separate setup had a death rate that was like 5 times higher than the other side. And so he's like, what is going on? And the conclusion that he came to, because this was all tied to women giving birth, and they were just dropping like flies, came up with what we now call germ theory, that people were doing autopsies in the morning and then delivering babies in the afternoon, but they weren't washing. And so he came up with a sanitizing solution, and he made doctors wash their hands, and the birth rate didn't just go down, it absolutely plummeted. Tells all his colleagues, hey, germ theory, wash your hands. And they're all like, nope, you're an idiot. This has nothing to do with us. And he ends up dying penniless and in an insane asylum because they so broke his will. Like, they alienated him, told him he was a moron, kicked him out of the hospital, all of this, because they just couldn't accept that they had had anything to do with these deaths. Like, the update.
Right. See, look, and that was, so like germ theory was invented when? I want to say 18 something. I want to say like it's 18 something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That required to their sense of self.
Either way, but you have to comprehend, just less than like 200 years ago, people were so ingrained to not know that some germs are really bad and that you have to make sure some germs stay away from other things you're doing, right? Obviously, some germs are good for you. There's germs in your body right now that you absolutely need in your body floating around, right? They're good germs and there's bad germs. Obviously, do you see what I'm saying? Just they didn't comprehend that. They didn't comprehend there was bad germs at the time. Do you see what I'm saying? And then they forced this guy to logistically go insane. Do you see what I'm saying? Look, think about this. Oh my goodness, this is such a good example. Think about him, right? In the time period, he figured out something that no one in the world could accept, really. And because of this, he was driven insane by the people talking to him. because they couldn't accept it. I kind of feel like that fucking Hungarian right now, bro. I am not even joking a little bit, because I talk about duality is a false reality. And logistically, everybody I talk to about this has no real ability to fully wrap their conceptual brains around what I'm actually stating. It's like everything you've ever done since you took a breath from the womb has been diluted by this dualistic false imprisonment of your brain. It has nothing. Look, out here, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like the microphone, all this shit. None of that fucking matters, bro. Because the problem isn't out here. The problem is inside everyone's brain. And the only way to fix it is for everyone to decide to be like, what the fuck is wrong with my brain? Fuck everybody else's brain. What is wrong with my brain, and how do I fix my brain? All I know is, bro, I grew up and fucking played the victim mentality for 28 fucking years, bro. And it's been 14 years since then. And I'm never going to look back. I'm never going to play a victim again, because there was no victim ever. There was never a victim. Do you see what I'm saying? Because duality was a lie. And so if duality is not real, then the victim I was playing within the system that I was born into isn't real, then I was never a victim. And for me to continue playing that role no longer made sense. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm doing this now, because I'm not a victim.
Was just too profound. They couldn't do it. The moral of that story is he was right, they were wrong, but it took 20 years of people saying, like, that's not something we can talk about. Yeah. It's exactly what happened during COVID. It's what happens all the
right. Look, it took 20 years for that particular thing. Comprehend, I've been talking about the truth that must be for everyone off of a basis. Like, you and I breathe oxygen and hydrogen. There is no debate, right? So obviously I can establish precedents. There is things that are truthful for everyone, and there's ways to figure out those truths, right? Precedent, not precipice, whatever the fuck I said. I don't even think I said a real word. Anyway, precedent. It sets precedent, right? It allows me to be able to go like, duality is a lie, and this is how I prove it. Like, you see what I'm saying? At this point, like, if you go into ChatGPT, I don't know about Grok, because Grok is kind of getting a little scary, and I haven't done new tests. Actually, I can't do new tests on the new Grok because you have to pay for the new Grok, so I have no ability. So only on the free version, right? So if you go on Grok on the free version, and like Grok 3, I guess, and fucking, or ChatGPT 4, and you type in language manipulation history, both of those to some degree are going to give you a synopsis of how long language has been being manipulated. Hopefully for you to get clarity to see that it's been happening longer than the English language that I'm speaking has existed. So this is a culmination of all the other manipulated language into such a manipulated language that everyone is confused, because none of the language actually makes sense, because it's diluted with these. It means this and that, and these words mean this. One word means 4 different definitions depending on how this and that, and it's all designed for everyone to be retarded.
Time people think they know, and they really don't. And so have humility. Like, I know the things that I say most aggressively, I know that they could be wrong. And so I'm always open to finding out that, oh, this thing that was like, this is my hill to die on. And then I find out, oh, okay, you did die on that hill. And then it's like, well, thank God. In reality, that's just a metaphor, because I need to be updating my thinking. And life has just taught me that when you update your thinking enough, you can get outcomes that are so desirable that it's worth letting go of well, I was right about this. And listen, you're going to hear me do it every now and then.
And to that extent, check it out, bro. When I started this journey, I was homeless on the side of the road with a laptop. That was it. I had me and a laptop and the ability to charge the laptop. And I spent the first 6 months of my homeless little journey at Starbucks, fucking 12 hours in Starbucks, researching and asking questions and just asking questions. Because I was like, I know nothing, and I have to figure out the truth that goes for everyone. So I did a science experiment, right? So instead of like, because most fucking homeless people, right, they're beggars, right? So they come out and they're like, can you spare and they're out there like this, right? So I had this fucking hat, it had Grumpy on it, right? I fucking took that hat and I just set it down on the fucking ground, right? And logistically, I would like fucking just ignore everybody, bro. I would just like I would sit there for like 5 hours or until I got what I needed for the day to get through the day, so that way I could do my research, right? I just got enough money so I could get through the fucking day, so I could do my research. And I just sat there and I fucking didn't pay attention to anybody, bro. And people would just come up and give me money out of their own free will. And that was my experiment. I was like, how many people would actually choose to help another individual if that individual didn't ask for any help? I was showing that I needed help, obviously, right? I was in a position where I needed help, right? I just wasn't begging for it. I was allowing the free will of the public to be decided. And every single day until I got out of that situation, and obviously I'm here streaming now, talking to you, blah, 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 right? Like, until I got out of that situation, every single day, I always got enough money to get through the day. Like, every day. And I never begged for any money. I just went and did my shit, and then I found a fucking place to stay at night, and then I would go back to Starbucks, and I'd find a place to stay at night, and I just do that, and I fucking researched a shit ton of shit, and then I fucking walked across the country, bro. Like, I've done a lot of shit.
When I'm right about something, I'm going to beat my chest like anybody else. But then I will immediately remind myself, this is so dangerous. Like, do not overinvest. Just because you were right this once, you were going to be wrong so many times. That's how you get rich. Like, I want people to understand that the very thing that has made me successful is my willingness to go, I'm the fool. I'm the one that's wrong. I don't need to point a bunch of fingers at everybody else. This is a me problem. And when you wake up every day and you go, this is a me problem, then it's like, okay, you're staying in.
He is true about that. The reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing right now is because, like, I stopped worrying about, like, well, I did two things, right? I was like, I have to know the truth that goes for everyone. And then through that questioning forced me to be like, well, I need to just worry about what like, me asking that question led to me needing to go, like, and figuring out that, like, oh, I just need to worry about what I'm doing. And that I'm never supposed to judge what anyone else is doing. Like, I'm like, I can give you advice. I can give you my opinion. I can say, like, what is the possible outcomes that I think from my perspective. I will never judge or treat anyone badly or in a harmful manner because they're doing something I think that they shouldn't be doing, right? Because this is all an illusion. And it's all for an experience. The only issue is we're inside of a false lie that we put in ourselves. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, we put in a lie that created a false place. And that's the only issue I have. Everything's an illusion. We're in a psychosis, right? There's a difference, right? We're in a psychosis right now. And that psychosis has been going on as far back as I can research is 12,000 years. And so that whole time we've been in a psychosis as far as I'm aware. And then there's other evidence stating that we've built the civilization up 5 other times and destroyed ourselves and then had to build ourselves up, right? So we build ourselves up, destroy ourselves, and then build ourselves back up and then destroy ourselves. And that supposedly has happened 5 other times before this civilization that can be researched back 12,000 years. And then on top of that, if you want to get into more evidence to see how much more crazy it could possibly be, is it's possible that a lot of our history was actually falsely put in to further manipulate our brains. So that's stating that even though I can look back 12,000 years, it's possible that not all 12,000 years of history that has been written is actually fucking real. So do you see the dilemma that we're in? And I've just covered over a few subjects in a moment. I can go deeper.
Control, you're staying disciplined, you're trying to find cause and effect, you're thinking from first principles. Does this violate the laws of physics? If it does, I'm not going to pursue it. If it doesn't, then it's like, okay, this is possible. So am I willing to figure this thing out and go down that road? But inevitably, there's going to be 35 things that are like core to who I am that I'm going to have to realize, oh my God, none of these are true. So for instance, 4 months ago, I would have said, there's no benefit to modern monetary theory except to bankers. Okay, well, doing the research just isn't true. Okay, so now you're back to the Thomas Sowell thing. It's just trade-offs. If we want the modern monetary system, okay, let me just tell you how and why this goes wrong, what it leads to over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And so instead of me going, oh, like hard money saves everything. It does not save everything. It has its own problems. If I wasn't willing to update my thinking, I would have been like, I have a cool talking point, and I would have just ridden that horse until the world was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't listen. But because I want to get even richer, I need to.
This concept of getting more money, bro. He's done anyways talking, bro. But it's fine.
Figure out what's real.
Oh, yeah, he was done talking anyways. That's hilarious, bro. He brought up getting rich twice, right? And see, that's the dilemma. Do you see how he's stuck? He's gonna get rich. He already is rich, bro. He got 4.55 million subscribers, bro. He already rich, right? But he's like, I gotta get more rich. He probably already has more money than he can spend in his lifetime, yet he thinks he has to get more rich. Comprehend, I'm here to tell you the truth that goes for everyone, and I don't give a fuck about getting rich. I give a fuck about maintaining enough money so I can freely talk on this stage freely and not have to worry about getting paid. I don't have to worry about you paying me. I don't have to worry about YouTube paying me. I don't have to worry about Facebook paying me. I don't have to worry about any of this shit paying me any fucking money. Because I 100% know that the truth I'm telling you is already inside of you. Even if you completely deny it, even if you never change in this body, you do not change based on what I'm telling you. And nothing happens in your life that allows you to change or gets you to change or allows you to see that you need to choose for yourself to change or any of these parameters, right? And none of that matters. None of that matters. Even if you do all that, the truth will still be inside of you. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you is still inside of you, regardless if you accept what I'm saying or don't accept it. And even if I'm incorrect, right? The truth is still inside of you. Because there is nowhere else it can be. I've established it 100% that out here, what we think of, these sounds, bro, the sounds, bro, that we hear coming out of our mouths and bouncing off shit and the stuff that we think is real and solid. It's all sound, bro. You know what I'm saying? If I hit anything, bro, it's gonna make a sound. That's my PlayStation. That's like my case for my controller, right? It's different. Right? They're different sounds. They're two different things. They seem solid. They're not solid. They're vibration. They're an energy wave making that sound. And that sound is vibrating at a frequency that to our perspectives looks solid because our hand is also a vibration and frequency and it's different than the PlayStation. And so therefore that's why my hand doesn't go through the PlayStation because my hand is a different frequency than the PlayStation. And so that's why it feels solid, but it's not. It's actually just two frequency vibrations coming up next to each other and going like this. They're not even touching. Do you see what I'm saying? You've never actually touched anything in your life. You've felt the frequency vibration transfer of information that tells you and describes to you what that thing is and feels like. But you've never actually touched it. 100%. That was fun, bro. I like that video. I really got into that one. I need to do a dab. I still have one more video to do, and then I can get to Warzone that I forgot to put in the title anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter if I play Warzone or doesn't play Warzone. I am going to play Warzone. I'm going to be here. What? Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm getting really good. I got through 2 videos in an hour, bro. That's fucking awesome, bro. You don't even know. I talk a lot, bro. You don't get how much I talk, bro. Like, I talk a lot. So for me to be able to, wow, that was like, that. I just like, I think, I feel like just leveled up right now. Like, cause dude, you gotta think like a week ago, I watched a video that was 49 minutes. It took me 2 hours to react to that video. It was 49 minutes long. It took me 2 hours to react to it, bro. I talk a lot. I had to turn that video into 5 different parts on YouTube. And then this is the fun one. This is like, oh, well, I mean, I guess, look, the 2K news was about 2K26 news, but it really wasn't news. It was just a guy talking about unity and like needing to get together and content creators and actually having discussions about the game. And I get what he's saying, and it does make sense that in that format. We need to start like, because 2K's gonna just keep raw dogging everybody and fucking everybody over until more people decide to get into larger groupings of being able to speak freely and openly about things that need to happen with the game, right? It's the only way you're gonna get change is you have to get overwhelming amounts of people, right? That's the only way change happens in this world. Don't get it twisted. The only way you change anything in the world is it requires it requires critical mass, which is 51%, right? The reason why it requires 51% is because the moment something happens at critical mass. Whoa, bro, I just had a fucking epiphany, bro. I just had a fucking epiphany, bro. Right, so check it out. This last fucking election, right? So I did a bunch of math, bro. I was like, there's no way, bro. Like, there's no way, bro. There's like no fucking way, right? So like, you know how like when the vote came out, bro, and it was like fucking, all right, Kamala Harris got blah 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 this many votes, right? And then fucking Donald Trump got blah 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 this many votes. I'm not gonna go into the numbers because I can't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, dude. That was like fucking a month and a half ago, and I've researched so many other numbers I can't think of them. Anyways, this number voted for fucking Kamala Harris, and this number voted for fucking Donald Trump, right? And you put those numbers together, right? And then you like find out that fucking like there's 300 and blah 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 million people in the country, right? But yet all of them are not 18, right? So you have to take out the ones that are not 18, and then you have the leftover, right? And then you have that number, and then you find out that these two numbers, when you put them together, is not this number over here, right? But see, all the people are telling you, oh, this percentage, half the country voted for Trump, and half the country voted for Kamala Harris. But the thing is almost half the voting population actually didn't vote. They didn't vote, right? So if you take the people that didn't vote, then technically, look, this is the numbers, bro. So you gotta comprehend. All the news medias, all the outlets, all the YouTube content creators, blah, 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 everybody in the world talking about this election, they were going, 50% of the country did this, and 50% of the country did this, but it was slightly more Trump and slightly less fucking Kamala Harris. But it was the whole country involved in this fucking election, when in truth, it was actually 25% of the country against 25% of the country, because almost 50% of the country didn't even vote in the election for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Yet they tell you lies all day, every day. This is just another one of those things that I have the ability to prove to you, where like the lies, you can go do the research. You can go look at the numbers, bro. I think it was like 43% or some shit. If you really want to get technical, I'm not, don't go quote me on the 43%. It's somewhere around there. But like 40-something% of the country didn't vote. So how did 50% of the country, or almost like a little over 50% of the country, vote for Trump, and a little less than 50% vote for fucking Harris, right? Like, do you see what I'm saying? The math doesn't math, right? Like, it doesn't add up. But yet everyone's so cognitive dissonance, motherfucking mind controlled, brainwashed, whitewashed from information and not being able to critically think. They don't have no ability to see this. They just go, oh yeah, okay, that's what happened. They don't even question it. They just like, oh, the TV said that's what fucking happened. That's what fucking happened. Do you see what I'm saying? It's fucking crazy. Like, I don't get how people don't see this. Well, I guess I do. I lived it for 28 years. I was just as brainwashed as everybody else. I'm talking about 100% just as brainwashed as you are sitting here listening to me right now. If you've never heard me, if you already listened to me before and you've heard some of this information before, then maybe you're not as brainwashed as I'm talking about. The fact that you're willing to even be able to sit here and listen to me rant about this information maybe state that you possibly might not be that brainwashed. And those are the only people I'm looking for anyways. At this point, I really am like, I'm completely on the like level of like, anyone who doesn't want to jump on a train that isn't fucking crashing, then they can stay on the fucking train that's crashing, bro. Like fiat dollars, fiat dollars. And look, I talk to people every single day. I talk to strangers. I talk to all sorts of people, bro, every day about fucking, oh, you should do this. Look, not because I want them to, right? Because all this stuff is a trap. Do you know what I'm saying? To some degree, until you get the fact that mental problems are going on in your brain, and this is all a trap, right? Like, we're not on the same page. And so everything has been designed based on a trap. Like, so the only thing I'm starting to think that might not be based on a trap, I'm still like, we're about to find out. Because look, this leads into, see, you see how that I did that without even thinking about it. It led totally into the video. Look.